This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
The aftermath of every social revolution brings about change. Cultural norms and landmarks shift as our minds and hearts expand beyond the familiar. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose in the land of the living. This is our time to renew, revive, and restore the hope lost to the busyness of life. This is our time to dig again and rebuild from the storms of our past on a solid footing that holds. Welcome to The Foundation.
The Foundation. 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 The Foundation.
The Foundation of Heart Grant is brought to you by Alive, Burger King, Commonwealth Bank, and Marco's Pizza.
Foundation. The Foundation.
Howard Grant's the host, Guardian Radio Station 96.9. 12 to 2 is the time. You can call the show or use the text line. Yeah, he educates, he informs. He goes against the norm. He's really got that zeal. Plus, he's a child of God.
Foundation. It's the foundation. Foundation. So it's the foundation. Foundation. It's the foundation.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is 96.9 FM Radio. Howard Grant in your company, The Foundation, on this absolutely beautiful Monday afternoon. I'm so happy to be in your company today, man. It's a beautiful day out here. And I want to thank all the persons who definitely commit themselves to this. I had a great weekend this weekend. It's an amazing thing, isn't it? I mean, let's talk like this. Listen, it was Mother's Day this weekend. I hope you guys had a good time. Took your mothers out, took your baby mothers out, your mama, your baby's mama. Make sure you had a good time this weekend. I mean, you spent some money. Did you cringe? Are your back teeth sort of grind down with a smile in the front? I mean, talk to me. Talk to me. We out here. I can see you. We're right here like this, right? Talk to me. Had a good time with my wife, man, this weekend. Wanted to do something very nice for her. And my mother's in grandmama. And but you know, I'm grateful for the fact that she's birthed my family. Can I say that? I am. I really am. We always had these sort of ideas about what we wanted in the future, and to be able to kind of step into that with someone that you love, with someone that you can see yourself into the future with, I think is a wonderful thing. So happy Mother's Day to all the mothers who are out there. I would start this week off with a pet peeve of mine as it relates to customer service. Had a great opportunity to be able to go down to Latitudes on Sunday. Didn't make a reservation, which was wild. Really wanted to go to Olives. Can I say that? Over to Atlantis. And made a couple calls. And, they only do credit cards. I bank with BOB. And so I didn't have my cash directly accessible on my card. I normally have to put it on the card. It's too much. Got to fix that. So I just had to kind of go to Latitudes, got into the place, walked in there. They have a row. Lady says, I said, can you give me a table for a party of 6? Oh, you have a reservation? So I said, no, I don't have any reservations. So she says, her shoulder dropped right away. Her shoulders dropped. And she's like, hold on, we can see. I said, oh my God. This woman don't know that I had to make up my mind to spend this money today. This is crazy. But anyway, we're not going to get into that today. I saw a supervisor actually come over and actually speak to her, but I had a beautiful time. For the very first time, I saw my son, because it was brunch. I saw my son, Gabriel, the young one, ate all of his food. I mean, he was eating everybody's food. You know, the little baby girl, she eating her food also. So it was a beautiful time. My wife enjoyed herself. We got her a few gifts. We was able to do that. I think it's always important that we can be able to identify the women in our lives who has given birth to us, one, and those women in our lives who's given birth to our family, our dreams, sort of the idea. They've incubated our passions and goals and actually brought it forth. I don't think we look at our women like that. I mean, because Rao Day is coming, Rao Day is real. But nonetheless, it's very important that we can be able to take the time out to look at the ones that we love, the ones that we're with, and say thank you. So I'm hoping that if you did not do that, that you take the time out to really be able to show the woman in your life, your care and how you've been able to really appreciate the time that she's spending with you. I just say that that's for us guys. So I just kind of want you to know that and kind of put that out there. Guys, make sure you pick up your newspaper, Guardian newspaper, today on Monday, May 15, 2023. Make sure you pick up your Guardian newspaper. MP's case file will soon be sent to DPP. Commissioner assures matters still being handled fairly, responsibly. And we're seeing the information there. Sex crimes remain high. This is what Fernanda, chief of police, actually said, and marked reduction in Haitian and Cuban migrants. I wanted to start off the show in a unique manner this morning. Some stuff has been plaguing me. I always try to, you know what we do here. Talk to me. You know what we do here. We, the entire concept of it, of being able to look back at our past and make a determination in our current, whether or not we're on the path to where we intended, the vision, the idea, the goals, the aspirations that we have to move in a particular direction. And I wanted to kind of read something for you. Now, it's going to be choppy. This is from August 27, 2015, and it's entitled Honesty in Fighting Corruption. I'm going to read a few bits and pieces of it, but then I'll pull it together at the end of it all so you can be able to see exactly what's what. So it says, corruption is rife in the Bahamas. Today, there is a general lack of transparency, fair play, and accountability. This is from 2015. And accountability in governance. It goes on to say, the cold, hard facts are that the Bahamas is a cash-driven, materialistic society where certain politicians are corrupt, vain, kleptomaniacs who fancy themselves to be among an imaginary class of citizens known as the uncountable elite. Corruption is a mainstay in our Bahamian politics, as more than a handful of politicians steal money or solicit bribes to maintain lavish lifestyles and or dole out contracts to reward cronies and seek patronage. Former Prime Minister Hubert Ingram, a man of great integrity, had it right when he said that for us, the Bahamian public, good and faithful governance is a matter of trust. At present, the public looks at the government with skepticism and distrust, and more often than that, you can hear Bahamians grumbling and stating that they are only bidding their time until election day. Unfortunately, we do not yet have a recall system for MPs in place, and the Constitutional Commission did not find it necessary to suggest that our Constitution be reformed to include the electoral mechanism. Frankly, an electoral mechanism should be implemented to remove elected legislative members who sometimes are found to be inept benchwarmers. Over the years, I have become convinced that there is an unaccountable elite in this country. For some time now, several past and current elected politicians have been known to use their position in government to shaft the public, investors, and amass cash and valuables that are stockpiled in bulging secret bank accounts and safes. Here, corruption among politicians and public officials vary and is inclusive of bribery, embezzlement, grafting, nepotism, patriotism, extortion, cronyism, kickbacks, and bid rigging. Yes. According to Wikipedia, the online encyclopedia, corruption poses a serious developmental challenge. In the political realm, it undermines democracy and good governance by flouting or even subverting formal process. Corruption in election and in legislative bodies reduces accountability and distorts representation of policymaking. Corruption in the judiciary compromises the rule of law, and corruption in the public administration results in the unfair provision of services. More generally, corruption erodes the institutional capacity of government and procedures, and government procedures are disregarded. Resources are siphoned off, and public officers are bought and sold at the same time. Corruption undermines the legitimacy of government and such democratic values as trust and tolerance. I am amazed. This is the article goes on to say, I am amazed at the tremendous sense of elitement of several obnoxious Bahamian politicians. You gotta follow me, watch me. Unfortunately, rather than fooling the public with their rhetoric of looking out for the Bahamas and our interests, more and more Bahamians, based on social media commentary, radio, and letters to the editor, are speaking out and seeing through their bombast and empty, self-conforming megalomaniac, and angrily taking stock as these individuals conduct themselves like greedy, spoilt brats and appear to be nothing more than motley crew of incompetent, thieving, wannabe national leaders who couldn't spell transparency even if it were typed bold in front of them in size 72. This is the article. This is wild. We can get deep into the thing today. Let's continue. Although I'm not suggesting that all politicians are shysters, to use the words of former U.S. Secretary of State Henry Kissinger, corrupt politicians make the other 10% look bad. That's heavy. It's heavy. Corrupt politicians make the other 10% look bad. So obviously 90% of them. Let's go on to the article. Let's keep going. Unquestionably, certain elected and high-regarding officials should face charges. This is heavy. Let's go back into this. Unquestionably, certain elected and high-ranking officials should face charges as it relates to their dishonesty. The improprieties have happened over the past 40 years that have tainted certain politicians and revealed that they are nothing more than political pirates. It appears that some Bahamian politicians don't have the slightest understanding of the meaning of the prefix honorable that, so unfortunately, precedes their names. This is one reason why it is even more important for us to have an independent director of public prosecution. Frankly, and I can stop right now and put it together. Frankly, such a person would not sit around the table with cabinet colleagues and or alliances to a government that prohibit them from changing the so-called high-ranking officials. Let's go on. Isn't it mind-boggling how certain first-time Bahamian politicians enter Parliament with a declaration of between $25,000 and $40,000, but 5 years later declared a millionaire or more? My God. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to stop there. If you want to be able to pick this up, you can be able to do so. Just be able to type it into your search engine, and you could type in Young Man's View, Honesty in Fighting Corruption. Young Man's View, Honesty in Fighting Corruption. And the author is none other than Adrian Gibson, Member of Parliament for Long Island right now. This is from 2015. Adrian Gibson. Over the past few days, there has been this lingering in my mind. I don't know why. I think it's because I know what I do. Because this is my job. I don't think if I had another occupation that I'd be so consumed with these particular stories. Because I need to be able to, I have an objective, I have an idea that I want to be able to present to the public. I have sort of a course that I want to take in terms of being able to show us for who we are and remind you that there is strength in your position to get to the objective that we've been called to. I have this sort of a thing, right? So wherever I go, this is a principle, pray without ceasing. And everything that you see, you do it as unto the Father, right? This is my job. And so I often look for nuggets socially to identify certain elements or issues, quandaries, or whatever's happening socially, to be able to put in my discourse. I often do that. And you've known since we've actually been able to kind of re-engage, that corruption is a big one for me. This sort of an idea of being able to eradicate it, but more specifically to identify it in our everyday lives. Adrian Gibson was one of my one of the go-to persons that I've actually looked to and say, well, if this fella could do it, if he's moving up, if he's climbing, then there's opportunities for others. Adrian Gibson and I would often have great conversations, and it would be a cross conversation, but he, myself, Warren McCartney, and others, right, who, in my view, quietly, very quietly, I'd never pronounced this to them, very quietly I said, wow, this is going to be the next dispensation of leadership in the country. This is exciting. This is exciting. When I sent my resignation to the Free National Movement, Adrian would call me, not Free National Movement, to the DNA, Adrian called me, right? He says, Howard, send me that. Let me see that, right? So I sent it so you could see it. There was this sort of I often said whether or not this would be sort of the alignment, like we've seen Cassius in some instances, like we've seen Brendan Wells, and Andre Rollins and other persons being able to connect at the ground floor and being able to build in one way or another. I've always kind of held him close within my mind and my subconscious to say that I have great expectations for him. I know that there was a level of arrogance. Socially people will have these kind of murmurs and chants about it. There was this level of arrogance that came to the forefront, but I chose not to identify it as arrogance. I recognized it as fortified confidence. if that's the thing, right? I said, okay, man, this guy's I don't think he's arrogant, man. He's just, his confidence is just, he has a double portion of confidence. That's how I viewed it. And then I said to myself, he's going to do well. When the allegations came to the forefront, that idea of a double portion of confidence eroded instantaneously. Well, I can't say it was instantaneous. It was a significant, consistent erosion of the idea that this was confidence. And it spilled into and now solidified into a true sense of arrogance. This has nothing to do, I don't want to talk about his trial and what's going on before the courts now. I want to talk about this idea of being able to enter politics with this great intentions. And the question as to whether or not this is truly the proverbial road to hell. Because I can only see this being able to pull the legacy of a young man's view, the aspirations that existed into naught. I want to talk like this today, guys. Let's talk about our politicians. Bear. Is this the emperor with no clothes? Let's talk about it with transparency and vulnerability. I want to take a commercial break, guys. The line's going to be wide open. Please be a part of it. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Hit me up, 242-300-5720. That's a toll-free number. Or hit me on the text, 422-4796. Let's talk about this thing today. Bare naked and for the world to see. We'll be right back after this.
Foundation. Foundation. The foundation.
The Foundation. We'll be back right after this.
The foundation.
At Marco's Pizza, we never skip on quality or ingredients. Save some cash and satisfy your cravings with our new carry-out medium 2-topping pizza for only $12.50. That's right, order 2 of your favorite toppings like sausage and green peppers on 1 medium pizza for only $12.50. VAT inclusive on our app or online. Made daily with fresh dough, our signature sauce, and fresh cheese. Only at Marco's Pizza. Restrictions apply.
Love the show? Want to give your support? Become a sponsor today. Call 302-2300 for our rates and packages. That's 302-2300. Become a sponsor on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Foundation. Foundation. The foundation. The foundation. Foundation.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, 96.9 FM radio. Howard Grant and your company, The Foundation. Absolutely gorgeous, beautiful day. Beautiful, absolutely gorgeous day. I tell you, the temperature's getting up there. But I'm glad to be in the land of the living. Talk to me if you could feel it. Talk to me. We're here. And we're here and we're doing what we have to do. I'm glad that you're here with us, guys. If you want to be a part of the conversation today, I'd love you to give me a call. 323-6232, 323-6232, 325-4316. 325-4259, or hit me up anywhere from the text from our toll-free number, 242-300-5720. That's for yourselves. And that's for those persons who are in the family of islands who want to participate in the conversation that we're having here. Also, you can hit me up on the text 422-4796. Now, I just want to shoot straight with you, right down the bow. Bop. Let's talk like this. I don't know. I mean, I come from an era and a space that I believe was charged with this sort of I don't want to call it superficiality. I want to call it just what it is. We as a people, we have consumed ourselves with the idea that there lurks a meaning, talk to me, behind some of these pronouncements. And so we look at these things, we're superstitious. That's what it is. It's just what it is. I've come from an era where this superstition exists significantly. And your grandmother would say certain things to you, and your mother would say certain things. Right now, I'm triggered significantly when people say certain things to me. I might as well tell you the truth. I am triggered significantly, right? And my grandma used to say to me when I was young, we had a banana patch in the front of the house, right? We would always play in the banana patch and, do foolishness. We watching people have their tobacco, so we would roll it up also. Talk to me. Is it only me? Just be very clear. We roll up me and my cousins. It's like a ton of us. We was just bad little children. So we would play with the banana leaves and whatnot. And I think my Grammy called me one day and she said, baby, I want you to go away with me. Something. And then I said, boy, oh my God, I can't wait. She called me out of the banana patch. I said, Grammy, I can't wait. She said, baby, don't say that. She said, if you can't wait, you can die. So I said, Grammy, what you mean? For years, I wrestled with the thing. I don't know what she's talking about. She said, baby, if you can't wait, you can die. So as I grew older, I recognized that I can't wait was a declaration. And declaring these particular things, that if I don't have this patience, this long suffering, if I don't endure till the end, I will be no more. This is the kind of superstition that existed in my space. You can't even say something to me right now. I got to wrestle that with the education and the experiences that I've had most recently in my life. But nonetheless, these things have been planted in my head long time. And when I see these strong pronouncements all the way back in 2015 from a young aspiring leader in our country who I've identified and befriended, when I see these things, the superstition pops back up. And Grammy would just say one word, mine, and then she would say something different. You ain't past that until you're dead. That's what your Grammy would say. Come on, man. All of us, we right here. You right here with me. Mine, baby, you ain't past that until you're dead. And I wrestled with this. And I said, but if you stand steadfast in convictions, what could change you? If this is you, if you live and breathe the thing, what could change you? You could make declarations. You should be able to speak of your own life prophetically, that this is where you're going, because this is where you stand fast in. But if you're like the spigot, it got hot and cold, you will be spewed out. Man, I getting deep, quick, fast, in a hurry. I want to talk like this today, and I want to talk to you today. Do you believe that these declarations that has been made by Adrian Gibson all the way back in 2015, young, aspiring, eager. Do you believe what he said then in comparison to what we see now? Or has he, like many a politician, step over that threshold and become absorbed by the perceived fold of corruption within our political organizations? The lines are wide open. Let me take this telephone call. Caller, on the line with us live. Go ahead. Caller on the line. Go ahead, caller.
Good afternoon, talk show host.
Hi, how you doing?
Yeah, I like Adrian Gibson a lot as a young person with potential, but I think he got beside himself. And you know, Donald Trump, everybody who come in contact with Donald Trump got corrupted, and they are either in jail or on their way to jail. I think Adrian got beside himself.
Hold on. Who's Donald Trump?
The president, the former president.
Donald Trump ain't here in this jurisdiction. I thought you was equating former Prime Minister Minnis with Donald Trump.
No, I'm telling you now.
Okay, let me hear it. Go ahead.
With Adrian getting caught up with Minnis, he is just what the people in America is to Donald Trump. He got caught up, and either you're on your way to jail or you're in jail. He got beside himself.
Wow.
Because of a leader.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's heavy. I appreciate your telephone call, guys. The lines are wide open to throw your thing on the table if that's what you want to do. I want to talk like this. You know, I told you this before, and I'm not going to stop saying it to you. This is my secret of how I do this and why I do this. I'm not afraid to tell you my business. I don't thief. I don't lie. I tell a little beige lie every so often to my wife. When she asks me, did you do this? I say, huh? Yeah, I didn't really do it, right? But truly, I recognize that my name is on the line. And not just my name. This is the concept and idea of being able to, the 1,000-mile journey, stepping, the first step towards a 1,000-mile journey. I start with legacy in mind. It fills me with a level of pride when people could look at me, I'll never forget it, where people could look at me and then speak to me and say, this is the potential that you have, Howard. We see this in you. And then I moved to Nassau, just travailing the streets, and someone say, boy, are you a butler? They don't know me. They don't know me from Jack. They don't know nothing about me. I only look like a semblance of someone who's done something great in this country. The legacy that was left there. And so it did something to my mind. How can I create a legacy for my children's children? I got to be honest. I got to be transparent. I got to do this. I got to do that. And that fortifies the conviction to stay on the path, the course that I've been called to. It ain't easy because many a time you broke on this course. But nonetheless, you got to stay there and steadfast and be assured within yourself that in due time and due season, if God is raining on the just and the unjust, there will be a small cloud off in the distance, like a man's hand. Talk to me as I get preachy very quickly. And eventually lead to a squall of purpose and fulfillment in your life. Your time is coming. I know this. So I wrestle with these things. I wrestle with my current comforts and my future legacy. And what always wins for me is legacy. I thought this idea and pursuit was a step in the right direction for legacy. For my good friend Adrian Gibson. But why wasn't your convictions fortified? Why? I like him. This is what the lady says. I like him. Man, let's talk like this, man. We got to let politicians know that this is the country that you're now that's being turned over to you. We will no longer stand for corruption or even perceived corruptions. And each administration needs to identify this. There needs to be a swift separation. Because if you don't start with an end in mind, in the middle there, we know you can fall short. Next telephone call. Caller on the line with us live, go ahead.
Hey, Al.
What's up, Jeff?
Right, yeah, man. Everything's good?
Yeah, man. What's up? And I see you Sunday. Been in church.
Yeah, well, I was in church. I was in the background on the camera.
Oh, okay. Good. Praise God. What you say?
Right, yeah, man. Listen, this case ongoing with Adrian Gibson in the courts, you know, to have people apparently already, I hope that no one has passed judgment on him. You know, the man is presumed innocent until guilty. It's a case that is ongoing.
That's in the judicial court.
Yeah.
This is the court of public opinion.
I mean, we are now in the court of public opinion.
Talk to me.
I understand that. Here's the 2 points that I would like to make here. First and foremost, like I said, the man is presumed innocent until guilty. You're talking about the man's character.
Mm-hmm.
Allow this thing to play out in the courts, even though the public have their own opinion of him.
Mm-hmm.
There are many others beside him that we have called into account, who have served before him, that we have already perceived as being corrupt. But yet, everyone seems to be afraid to call them out because they hold some influential power in this country, either by family or legacy. I mean, family legacy, or by the immense wealth that they hold in their hands, that they can do anything by a push of a button or by a say of a word and destroy your life. This is one of the reasons why, if you're going to use Adrian Gibson in this particular instance, I would say, wouldn't it also be kind of sensible, well, not sensible, but kind of interesting that the procedures for the Public Accounts Committee and the Public Disclosure Committee, why haven't many of our so-called leaders who happen to be politicians have not given a true account?
I want you to go.
What it is that they owe? What is it that they own? What is it that they came into politics with? And what did they actually leave with? You see, these are some things that we have to be very careful with casting fingers, because there are many prominent politicians beside this point.
And this is why.
Besides this one case that we can point finger at. But like I said, society seems afraid to call them out because who they are, who they're affiliated with, their immense wealth, and so on and so forth. So, in essence, in closing, you know, I don't know Adrian no more than a can of paint. You know, I've been following his editorials in the papers for quite some time. I have a fair understanding of his demeanor and his character, but I will not assassinate his character. All right? It is a very dangerous thing to do, and I also live by you live by the sword, you're gonna die by the sword. I would hate to know that I would go and besmirch somebody's character without knowing the true facts or whatever, because at the end of the day, someone could turn right around and do the same thing to me and destroy me. So I'm very careful with that. I'm going to follow the case and see what will continue going forward. But let that Public Disclosure Committee and the Public Accounts Committee stand for what they are intended to do and see how many persons, politicians who are supposed to be the leaders in this country, who are supposed to be the examples. Let's see how they live their lives according to those two committees, and then we'll go forward. Thanks for taking my call.
I appreciate it, Jeff. I want to be very clear with you. This sort of posture and relentless defending of yesteryear, where there may not have been accountability, transparency, and that sort of a swift action, even from the court of public opinion. That is why those men and women of yesteryear would have gotten caught. This is what he was writing about in 2015. I didn't read his words, This ain't how I didn't type none of this. I only read this, and I chop it up. It's 4 pages, 5 pages. This is an article in the Tribune newspaper, A Young Man's View, Honesty in Fighting Corruption. This is, he wrote this. He wrote this in a sane mind. I ain't put nothing in my words. I am saying, I agree with him. That's what I say. I agree with you. I agree with you. Whether it's Adrian Gibson, whether it's Dwayne Sands, whether it's Peter Turnquist, whether it's George Smith, whether it's Kurt Cornish, I agree with you 100%. 100%. I agree with you 100%, Adrian. And I'm saying, if this be the case, and your time has come. Let me read this little piece. We do not yet have a recall system for MPs in place of a constitutional commission that did not find it necessary to suggest that our constitution be reformed to include this electoral mechanism. This is what he said. This is what he said. And so my only point to you is that this is not besmirching anything. I'm asking you, when are we collectively going to get serious? Or are we going to continue to be able to skirt around in the circumference, the perimeter of relentless social emotion? Because that's all this is. For you to be able to make an argument about something that has never been pinned down about something is relentless emotion. And if we are dealing with something that is actual literal, then we need to be able to be logical. And the logic, even based on the suggestion from 2015, indicates that there should be separation and honorability in this matter. That's all I want to say. Let me take this last telephone call before we go to a break. Caller on the line with us live. Go ahead. Go ahead, caller. That's the caller. Just let the caller through. Just let the caller right through. We got 3 minutes before we get it here. Go ahead, caller. You're on with me live.
Good afternoon, sir.
Hi, how you doing?
I am so happy that you're discussing this issue, the corruption.
Okay.
Corruption. It seems like it's in the government, in our legal system, in our churches, in our companies, in our workplace. Everybody likes to claim this word. Innocent until proven guilty. What happened to the poor man going down the street? Is he innocent until proven guilty?
No.
Is he innocent?
He lock up.
Where do we see that place for the poor man who don't have the money to carry them through the court system? Where do we see that place? It seems as if you're innocent as long as you got money. That's what it seems like I've seen. And I've been listening to you. And I've been listening to you for a while. And I'm happy. Welcome back onto the radio platform.
I appreciate
because for too long, this Bahamas, our Bahama land, would claim innocent until proven guilty. Check the court system. Check people who's going through the system, who is waiting for some kind of justice to the injustice that have been done to them. Where is the injustice for them? Where is the justice for them? All the time I hear people come on this radio talking crap about innocent until proven guilty. That's because that's their viewpoint. But go to the poor man down the street who's waiting and hoping and wishing for the justice to hear their cry, for justice to come to their call. What happened to those people? Come on, man. Let us be righteous in this country. And you say you're righteous? Where is the righteousness? Where is it? Tell them people who talk about they're running for government and those people sitting in position, come on, let's come to them. One thing I know, that there is a righteous church, God, and He's going to judge this land. They're talking about Hurricane Dorian. They haven't seen anything yet until they learn to clean this town up. The town needs cleaning up.
Thank you so much.
I'm telling you, from the legal system to our government system, our churches, big companies, and I look at it and I see these people, everybody claiming every day to be so righteous in the churches, in the system. Come on. God ain't pleased.
I agree
God
with you.
is not pleased. Just poor man is crying out for justice. Where is it?
My goodness.
The people who can't afford to pay for justice, where is it? Tell my Bahamian people, come, let's get it together. It's time to get it together.
Absolutely.
They're talking about politics and politicians. Listen to them. They twist in their talk every day. They have something new to say.
Wow.
Who they want to damage, they damage it. Who they want to look clean, they come clean, they clean them up.
Well, I appreciate your telephone call. I got to go to a break, and I know you got a lot more to be able to say. We're going to get back to this on the other side. But he says, in the article, it says, it appears that some Bahamian politicians don't have the slightest understanding of the meaning of the prefix honorable that so unfortunately precedes their names. This is one of the reasons why it is ever so important for us to have an independent director of public prosecution, a DPP. I didn't construct this. I didn't do this. This isn't as a result of what I've done. We're only reading what has been etched into the fabric of our society, into the annals of history, that we can now be able to bring forth as evidence to say that you should have known better. Let's take this quick commercial break, get to news, and be right back to the foundation after this.
The foundation. Foundation.
The Foundation. We'll be back right after this.
The foundation. The foundation. The foundation.
Wednesdays just got a whole lot better. Introducing Whopper Wednesdays at Burger King Nassau. Get a flame-grilled Whopper for only $5.50, including VAT. Yes, you heard that right. This Wednesday, you can indulge in the classic flame-grilled Whopper you love, made your way for only $5.50. Stop by your favorite Burger King Nassau location this Wednesday and enjoy a Whopper for only $5.50. Burger King Nassau, where taste is king.
Guardian Radio and the Foundation are on the move.
Bahamas, this one's for you.
SBT, Small Business Thursdays. Every Thursday, the Foundation with Howard Grant will highlight small businesses throughout the country, far and wide. Your products, services, prices, and personality. We want to hear it all. Get your 30 or 60-second advertisement heard on air at a fraction of the cost. We here at the Foundation understand the times and don't want you to be left behind. With Guardian Radio, you reach your specific demographic, and it is unmatched.
We reach thousands daily.
Get your products off the shelf and your services in their hearts. Small Business Thursdays with the Foundation, only on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. For more information, call 302-2300 or the Help Me Howard line at 827-0111. SBT. Small Business Thursdays. Get your business moving today.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas. This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Foundation. 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 The foundation. Foundation.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. 96.9 FM radio. Howard Grant and your company. Right here on the foundation. Beautiful, absolutely gorgeous Monday. So grateful to be in your company. May 15th, if you're celebrating a birthday, happy birthday to you, and continue to be able to move in the direction that you've been called to with purpose and passion, with conviction and determination to get to where you, it's a big world that I say here. I think it is. I feel like, one of the callers keep calling and say, Howard, man, you got so much words, man. You keep using the word conversation, man. You got to try use something different. I think conviction is one of the things that I've been using a lot also. If you kind of analyze what you do, then you go through your head and say whether or not you're doing the right thing, right? Am I using this too much? Is it an overkill? And I feel like conviction has been a recurring theme for the show, right? Because it has not been easy for a 41, almost 42-year-old young man in this country with a bunch of children and a wife. And I often ask myself the opportunities that I see some people have and the lackluster approach in executing the opportunities that they've been given. I often say to myself, well, why the hell did they get that opportunity? How the hell did they get that? And then, we chalk it up to social promotion. We chalk it up to political proximity. We chalk it up to so many things. But the fact is that they've gotten it. And then I ask myself, is this out of reach for me? And I realize it's not. It's just not. It's not out of reach for any of us. Anyone who could weave, knit, crochet two words together and able to say it with a level of fluidity and conviction in their voice, watch me, to convince you that what I'm saying is right. You could go on YouTube to learn that. They could learn body disposition and posture and how to be able to emphasize certain words and characters in certain manners. You got to go to school for that. You could do that. And I realized that it's really not out of my grasp. Because I got great aspirations. I made some promises to my wife years ago, and I cry about it quietly to myself. I said, Lord, I'm supposed to do this to this woman a long time, Lord. What's going on? I look back at my father, my mother, my grandmother, and then their era and time that they live in, and I ask myself, well, what happened? I've done more than them. I speak different languages. I've lived here. I've done this. I've done that. Why can't I acquire something for myself? Is it out of range for me? I ask myself these questions. Talk to me. I tell you I'm going to be vulnerable with you because this Howard is me. I ain't going to lie to you about me. This is me. It don't make no sense. I can't lie to God. What am I going to lie to you for? It's me. So let's shoot straight. Are these things, the acquisition of life, out of range for me? Are they out of range for you? No, they're not. How do we reach it? We have to reject and deny the conviction that propels us to exist. We have to reject and deny the God in us. Talk to me. Let's just shoot straight down the line. We have to. We must. You can't hold on to God and mammon. You got to let one go. And while you wrestle and you say, I will not loose you till you bless me, Lord. Even though you may have the scars and walk with a limp, Israel, thereafter, you are perpetually blessed. And your legacy is etched into the tablets of time and history and into eternity. Man, talk to me. Let's get preachy very quickly. Every one of us have an opportunity to access the convenience of life, the comforts of life. But be steadfast and committed to our conviction, to our faith, and our purpose. So this conversation has nothing to do with an individual. I didn't bring this here to besmirch Adrian Gibson. I read this because Adrian Gibson wrote this. But it doesn't apply to Adrian Gibson alone in this instance. It applies to both Adrian Gibson, to Kirk Cornish, to all members of Parliament. Any, to Lanisha Roll, to all. But we're dealing with the current ones in the House of Assembly now. And if there is a desire to eradicate this, or even approach this with sobriety, we get to start at a juncture. I cannot unravel what has been done yesterday. I just reach. I'm not here to fight the fight of the men that did nothing yesteryear, or those that fought and lost yesteryear. We are here dealing with this now. And this ain't about an individual. This is about a proverbial spirit that exists within the halls of our parliament, that exists and is attached to our legislation, to our governance in our country. I just want to shoot straight and kind of put that on the table. All of us could get it. But many a man continues to be able to sit around. When I come to Nassau, a fella pointed a man to me. He was selling peanuts. I didn't know this man. I just reached Nassau. I want peanuts. Say, how would you know him? He used to be a senator, you know. Almost like in a condescending manner. Look at him now, right? That's what he told me. Look at him now. This man working hard for his money. Look how he's look at people. Look how he's look at people. Down and condescending your tone. You don't want there to be transparency. You want there to be the perception of success. And these fellas got the teeth for that. So are we a part of this also? The lines are wide open. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Hit me up on the text. 422-4796, or hit me toll free. 242-300-5720. Let me go to the caller. Caller, on the line with us live. Go ahead.
Good day, Mr. Howard. How you doing?
I'm good, man. What's happening?
All right. Like the lady said, I'm glad to hear you back on the radio. I don't know if it's full time. I haven't been following the talk show for a while, but it's always a pleasure to see you because you always have a fair and honest as a talk show.
Thank you, my brother. I appreciate you.
Okay. Now, that's to the point. You know, Howard, the problem is with this country is that grandmothers and grandfathers, people becoming grandmothers and grandfathers too early in their 30s, their mid-30s. And the problem is that I grew up with my grandmother now. And my grandmother was 60 years old when I was born. So you can imagine that 25 years with a system that I shared. And what it does is it fortified my character. To train the child when he's young, and when he's old, he'll never depart from it. That's what we lacking in this country, you know. These young folks, like you say, there are opportunities there. And you see as a 42-year-old man, as you explaining, there are opportunities there. And you're saying it's not that far reach from you. But nobody will put in the time. They always see the glory, but they don't know the story. You know, you have to fight, and you have to struggle, and you have to think your way out of situations and all of that. It is like it's being tested by the Almighty to fortify you and to make you strong to handle all of this blessing that He has restored, that He has stored for you. If you don't go through that process, you will kill yourself. If He give you that too early. And this is what has to happen in this country as young men and young women. You have to look deep and search the Word and study to show your own self-approved and fortify your character. Build your character, build your strength. Rich people have the same problem poor people have, but how they handle the problem. is what makes them so successful. We as a nation got to go back to God, and we have to fortify ourselves through the scriptures. And these young men and young women, they want this microwave age. They want it instant. And they do any type sort of things on the street for it. And that is why they get themselves in so many problems.
Wow. I appreciate you, man.
If we don't do that as a nation, we can be in trouble. Just like the lady said, that Doreen would be a joke of what's gonna happen if we don't catch ourselves right now.
Wow.
How would I on the streets every day, and I'm afraid just to ride the street, just to go to work. For the level of criminality I see on these streets.
Boy, I appreciate your telephone call. You sound familiar. Give me a shout afterwards. I know you still got my number. Praise God. Give me a shout. It's good to hear from you, my brother. Listen, man, I won't talk like this. The gentleman said something significant. I surmise it to this. I kind of sum it up to this one thing about how we propel ourselves. I tell you, man, listen to me. I need you to hear me, okay? And I don't say listen to me as though I'm the oracle. I say listen to me because this has been rummaging. I look deep within myself and ask myself these questions. I do every day. I tell you because this is my occupation. If I was at the hotel, I wouldn't think about these things. I'm busy. I ain't got time for that. I got things to do. I got people to check in. I got schedules to make. This is my occupation. This is what I do. As a result of it being my occupation, I often have to ask myself the question, how is it that so many politicians find themselves in this position, but we as the public perceive them to be unprepared? How is it? How is it that so many politicians can ascend to a position of national leadership and be able to stick their chest out as though they have arrived significantly within our society and continue to be able to, from their elevated position, perched, and be able to speak condescending down to the country, to their countrymen? How is it? How is it that they've arrived at this position and ill prepared? And then I ask myself, is it as a result of them being proverbially forced ripe? You remember you take the mango in the fridge, you put it in the brown bag, you put it in the dark spot, and hopefully you could be able to get that. If you don't get that, you sprinkle salt on the thing and you eat. But you can eat this mango. Talk to me. You can't wait till the season come. You can eat the thing. Huh? Your children got jaundice. You're doing too much. But because of your insatiable desire to have the thing now, you've identified all sort of crafty ways to get to your objective. My question is, this ill-prepared approach, and not a lack of acquisition or a lack of certification, I'm just saying that you don't have the life experience to understand some things. You haven't experienced some things. You haven't endured. You haven't had the long suffering. And my question is it because fraternity, political and otherwise, that gives you proximity, that because of your sweet sounding words and the way they flow off your tongue, that they strategically place you in a particular position? Ill prepared. Ill prepared. And you find yourself now at this position, at this point. They're saying nothing to do with no one man. Please take Adrian Gibson name off the table. If you believe that this conversation is about him and being able to isolate that, this is about being able to deal with the concept of corruption in our governance. How do we eradicate it? How? How in the court of public opinion can we go back and forth about perception is perceived? Well, you get it innocent until guilty, and not. How can we do this? These are allegations that came to the forefront that is going through the due process to be able to identify whether or not there's legitimacy or not. But the allegations have been levied against you. The other 37 of them ain't got the allegations. You got it. Are you going to be a martyr? An example? to ensure that there's a fortified position for Thingham and allow for there to be honorability that exists in that space, or are you going to just do as the men and women did before you? Let's take a next telephone call. Calling on the line with this live. Go ahead.
What are you saying, brother?
All is well.
All right, quickly. I commend you. You're brave. You stand. People. One of your previous show talk show hosts used to avoid it. They call it subjudice, but you clearly articulated. This ain't what you're doing. It have nothing to do with subjudice. You're speaking to a particular article that was written.
Mm-hmm.
I give you courage, my brother, because I know the Guardian has tried shut you down quick, but obviously they're giving you more leeway.
Mm-hmm.
So I congratulate the Guardian. In the U.S., they do this all the time. When Trump up for trial, they talking about him. So, and they talk about him, and that's how they talk about it, because they have that freedom, but we don't challenge the system, so you challenge it, I give you great credit.
Mm-hmm.
As far as corruption, I would say the corruption has its genesis in the local behemoth. Not only look at the parliament, but they come from among us. And they are held up by us, by the political lines that we have drawn. So because that's my man, my woman, I ain't gonna touch it. And so that's another thing. Then the court, recently I looked at how the court told the government, before you tear around the house, you got to come get permission. What kind of nonsense this is? What kind of system we got? Where the government now bows to the court.
Well, let's do process now. Now you
not do process. Your job is to legislate, interpret the law, but I don't have to come to you to carry out the law. I must carry out the law, and when I say it, then you must then say, no, someone goes to court and say, no, he's doing this wrong. Then the court stops me. The court don't give me permission to do things. The court says you're right or you're wrong.
But when they put a juncture in, and I really do appreciate this, I like how you put it on the table. When they put that information to the forefront and to be able to talk about this, see, I just want to be honest. I just want to be very clear about this. My daughter just riled me, and she said, "I can't believe it, Daddy. Why do we have to do this?" That's what she says. She said, "Why do we have to do this, Daddy? This doesn't make any sense." So I said, "Baby, come learn to cook, or come learn to do this, and come to do this." I don't have to learn to do this, that. So she riled me about this idea of becoming domesticated. I just want her to be prepared. I want to educate her. I want her to be prepared, well-rounded in all aspects. She rowing because however she's consumed or whatever is charged in this environment, she rowing me about what has been established before. This conversation has nothing to do about being able to destruct or dissect what has been established. This is about forward movement. That's all this is. About what existed prior, judicially, from a legislative standpoint, from any one of the arms of governance in our country. What has existed? We're not here to unravel that. We are saying going forward, we've identified with the experience that we've gained over these years, with the conviction that we've fortified in our position, with being able to look at our socioeconomic position, we have made determination that it is better for us to endure and do without to get to a greater objective than to be able to eat this little piece of onion for the comforts of this specific moment. That's all this is. Please, don't get me fired talking about nothing else. This ain't got nothing to do with that. Let's talk about this. We talking about this, and I want to be clear. I ain't here to lambast the government or the legislative system, the judiciary. We are here and we go through that process to ensure that there is transparency and moving forward. That's why you get the Privy Council. Don't fight me. Don't fight me. You give me good accolades. I accept those accolades, but you ain't get me fired at the end. You need to stop it. The devil is a liar. Amen. Just shoot straight with the thing. Right down the middle. All right. Let me see if I can read a couple of these texts. All right. So it says, Howard, if you thought that confidence, then you're definitely a target for scammers. This Gibson reminds me of another Gibson. Anyways, but for the grace of God, y'all need to stop. Oh my God. It's a shame how the police allowed the PLP supporters to jerk and hackle Adrian Gibson and his legal team today as they left the courts today. It's wild that people just say these things. Y'all see everything through the lens of politics. That's wild to me. There was a an opportunity, if we know in the small community of 8 Mile Rock that there was a murderer going to court. Now, these are only social allegations levied against the fellow, Innocent, then until he proven guilty. This is the process. But if we know that the fellow going to court, around the courthouse, 850,000 people. Talk to me. And you wouldn't believe the nastiness that has come out of people's mouth. Just for allegations. How the police can do you come to the protest and they said, here, put this muzzle on. Here, please put this muzzle on. Thank you so much for attending. Put this muzzle on. Do you think that that's what's happening here? People call the radio station and say things all the time. I don't understand. How you can stop the police can stop people from doing these things? You just cussed them out the other day for COI. You made significant positions on them or what the police should have done as it relates to what was happening over at the beach and on Paradise Island. I think our unsatisfaction is what is insatiable here. Let's just be very straight about this thing. Let me see if I can read it, another one, right? So it says, tell your caller the court of public opinion is fair, just, and harsh, and it doesn't play. Let's take a telephone call. Caller, you're on the line with us live. Go ahead. Go ahead, caller. I got you. Go ahead. No, let me get the next one. Caller, you're on the line with us live. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Mr. Howard.
Hey, my brother, what's happening?
Yeah, great show, great guy, Howard. I want to pick the right person to fill the spot.
I appreciate you, man.
Your audacity, fortitude, et cetera, Howard. Some deep conversations. I like to have Garth on at least once a month or bi-weekly, right?
Yeah, Garth is my guy, man.
Yeah, and so, the thing is, I wonder why he could identify with exactly what he's saying. The lady called it before the break. Hats off to her, all right? I loved it. But the thing is, just to really delve into what you were saying, right? Initially, I like to start off with the bomb scare with the Azario Major coroner's inquest or whatever. I was reading the newspaper or whatever, right? So nobody seems angry at the person who called and did that, who would threaten the judge and the people and whoever the decent people is sitting in the coroner's inquest. Why would you call and just give a bomb scare? But I'm surprised that nobody's hot, as they would say, to capture this caller. That's what I'm afraid about, all right, Howard? Yeah, and you didn't hear it on the news, so I just thought that was kind of funny for me and kind of scary for me. And so, Howard, the other day in Europe, that was a riot. You remember when the people, the citizens were against the new parameters for the pension fund, right?
Yeah, I do remember.
That was France, right? Yeah, and so I think the government gave into that, right? So what I'm saying is, with corruption, right, Howard? Me and you're old enough. You're 42. You're just about my younger brother. My youngest brother may be a year, got you by a year or so. But the thing is, we could see clearly over the years that governments and governmental entities, I don't need to call their name, but PPPs, right? The thing is, it's substrate for corruption and cover-ups and whatever it be. But the thing is, be not serious. Corruption can easily be solved. You know that, right, Howard?
Yes.
But it's the lack of implementation, because all you do is, let's cut you to chase and all the narratives. Let's just check on your financial status, and you give an account as to how, when you going away, to poor man, money law, funny law, saying you ain't business with $10,000. Stick up. It's a stick up. So this is what we are. Humanity is at a stick up now, and you got the oligarchical structure driving all of the parameters. All right? And so when you look at corruption, it's an ecosystem. The other day, there was, like the thing is, we have to realize that the social media and the internet era is the pros and cons. It's like they cannot control the truth anymore. Even Socrates, from way back then, was able to realize that the truth will bring you enemies and get you in problems. George Orwell stressed it in a time of great deception. The truth will get you in problems. All right? So why were these men saying these things, Howard? And then we heard the narrative, right? Let's take, for instance, right, the migrants, or whoever they are, selling charcoal up and down all over the island. You pass, you see these bags of charcoal. Nobody is willing to say and juxtapose where they're getting this from, right, Howard? And then there was some information circulating on social media about some investigative journalism, and some information was disclosed about a trailer load of charcoal being found, right? I wouldn't say where, because, I'm not a political scumbag to be caught up, but just give me an example why I don't like to attack people's character. I don't know Mr. Gibson. But what I can do is sequester financial status, and then you give me an account of the amount. I'm not, you know, I can play with words, because this is what life is.
But I didn't read it for you.
We all are in self-deception.
I read you out of his article. He said, isn't it mind-boggling how certain first-time Bahamian politicians enter Parliament with a declaration of about $25,000 to $40,000, and 5 years later declared a millionaire or more? This is what he's saying.
The report is very brilliant. He's a young guy, but he's brilliant. You know, of course I'm impressed. I love this. Because the truth, I mean, come on, it's either you stand for this or you stand for that. But let me get back to the charcoal incident, the migrants. You trying to tell me now, no one can find out where this charcoal is coming from, Howard? But they on the global arena showing climate change, carbon neutrality, which is a bunch of BS. They couldn't come on. If you take away their cell phone, take away their books, and then like someone like I could have a conversation with no book, no phone, no nothing, just an out for the beaming people with a fact checker, and I can show you these guys know nothing about what they're talking about because they're not doing what they're saying. Okay, Howard? They haven't taken the time to even study it because they would realize it's farce. So you all around the world running around with climate change, but yet still people cutting down our forests and selling our coal, and a man on social media documenting it every day, but nothing is going on. What you trying to tell me now? I can't go by what I see. I got to listen to words from mere men. We're in a pathetic position, Howard, and we can't be no coward, whether you live in Dade or Broward. All right? We got to get it together, Howard. Otherwise, we are BSing ourselves. So the gentleman who called and said the politicians, the police, they come from within our communities, of course. But the difference is between me and you and them and other people. My internal untruths don't affect everybody. Okay? So if I'm in a position and I'm selling out my country, justice to the peace, whatever I doing wrong, that affects people. But you didn't see it immediately in the immediate effect. But so you turn around to enrich yourself. There's nothing wrong with enriching yourself. But then the question becomes, how greedy are you?
This is
bananas.
This is bananas.
That's the question. How rapacious are you? You never full.
Are you right? Are you insatiable? When you can stop?
But you know you can play with words too, Howard. I think I just learned one word from you today. You used a word first time I heard it in my life. I might have the first time I think I heard it in my life. But this is life. When we play like we know it all, and you know Howard, the sickening thing about the Negroes on the plantation, right? They have a problem. They forget what the radio's airwaves is all about, Howard. Howard, if I said that I never learned nothing from listening to the Guardian radio, then I'm a fool. So the concept and the idea for radio is to inform, to educate, and to entertain. I think I could do all, but I don't know which one I am best at. But like I said, I'm willing to have a open forum with anyone on climate change. I don't care who they is, right? Because I could bring Dr. Freeman Dyson and other people on my side who specifically saying, and even though, and listening to people and just having common sense, and the questions I have to ask will frighten them. Just now, Howard, I was on Google, and I typed in something, and lo and behold, a lot of stuff that at Google, even years ago, I said showed up, and all is about science. What is the difference between this and that, and just interesting, and I couldn't believe it. So what's that, Howard? They have my algorithm.
Your algorithm. Yeah, I just want to tell you that. That's the algorithm. I appreciate your telephone call, my brother. He was a good, decent man. I always appreciate those particular things. Let me read a text. It says, Mr. G, don't let them offer you that $1 million to trap you. Be strong. The good book says, by the sweat of your eyebrow. Okay. By the sweat of your brow. By the sweat of your eyebrow, you will eat bread. Well, my eyebrow been sweating. Talk to me. I just want to talk like this, man. You see, I think we pretend in our society. We good pretenders. We're great pretenders. We pretend like there isn't a significant struggle that's happening socially, that there isn't socioeconomic depravity in our country. We pretend. And for a great deal of people who are insulated by governmental proximity and opportunity afforded thereof, I think you pretend also. You think you see everything is okay because you're comfortable. And your comfort doesn't allow you to shift. You remember you would lay in the bed, your mommy laying in the bed sideways, she got the blanket on her, the fan on, and she called you 3 blocks away. She called me. Come here. You run in the room to see what she wants. Yes, ma'am. Give me that remote right there. Your comfort wouldn't allow you to shift. Your comfort. this position that you've nestled in, this money that you're making, the surety that you can go to the bank on Thursday or Friday or wherever this thing is, and you find the little things there, the little shingles. Talk to me. Let's just be very clear about the thing. Huh? You find the thing there. That comfort causes you to be able to relentlessly defend the absolute undefensible. It is bananas to me. And I put myself in this position. Of course I could do this too. I'm good enough to do this. I'm good enough to convince you that what you see is not really what it is. Yeah, man. I'm a magician with the linguist thing. I could make it happen. And if it ain't happened the first time, I'll practice at it. I could make it happen. But I can't sleep after that. I cannot sleep because I know that there is judgment coming. And all I want to talk about is accountability, transparency, and conviction. That's it. 3 things. Accountability, transparency, conviction. That's it. This ain't got nothing to do with no one individual, because these names are interchangeable in every decade, every political era, every time. These names are interchangeable. The issues remain the same. How do we rectify the issue and move forward? Let me take a commercial break and be right back after this.
Foundation.
The Foundation. We'll be back right after this.
The foundation. The foundation. The foundation. The foundation.
The 6th edition of the Bahamas Games are on the way. July 7th through the 15th. Get ready for inter-island sporting competition in the spirit of unity and camaraderie. Which island is gonna win? It's the Bahamas Games. Our nation, our talent, our games. And look out for the B-Games crew coming to your island soon. For more information, call 809-1242 or visit thebahamasgames.org.
We're good for you.
My business couldn't survive without my credit card machine from Fidelity.
It's fast, convenient, and my clients love it.
My sales increase, and I can track my earnings.
Get your credit card machine from Fidelity today.
Call 356-7764.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Foundation. Foundation. The foundation. The foundation.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, 96.9 FM radio. Howard Grant and your company. The last few minutes of the show. Don't misconstrue what this is about today. I'm grateful that you're here, you're participating, but you think Howard out here to... I tell you, Adrian Gibson is my friend. I do. I've always identified him as a comrade and eager to... In fact, if I'm going to be honest with you, he and I had significant conversation. He was trying to get a nomination here in Nassau, and I was trying to get a nomination in Grand Bahama. I went from Central Grand Bahama to West Grand Bahama, pursuing a nomination with the Free National Movement. Talk to me. He and I had significant conversation and eager for the idea to be able to connect and serve together, making fun and, having conversations about the possibility that we can be able to see ourselves 30 years in this thing, being able to serve our country and move in the direction that God has called us to move in. This is the kind of I know this fella. Don't pretend. I don't do that. I'm one of them fellas. I'm not here to talk about you bad because this could be able to be entertaining. I am talking about the conviction of who we are as a people. That's it, man. You ain't getting nothing different from me. You're not going to get anything different from me. I am going to leave this place one day. And just like I leave my room when I go to Miami, because when I come back, I want to be able to see clear. I used to call it Miami, but to the States, anywhere. When I go, I deep clean my place, leave it clean and decent. So when I come back, my place is in order. That's just how I want to live my life. It may not be the easiest thing, especially in a society where I could see all riding Tesla on these pothole-ridden roads and you got all kind of money. And I ask myself, are these Negroes that much better than me? Lord, why not me? Do I give up my convictions to get to this position, or do I stay steadfast and know that my time is coming? That's what I'm asking. Let me read a couple of these texts that came through. I see the lines are lit up. The lines are, guys, you know the numbers. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, anywhere from the family of islands. 242-300. 5720, that's a toll-free 242-300-5720, or you can hit me up 422-4796. It says, the question you are asking, my friend, is potent. It says, the path of all is different. However, the goal is glory. The process, however, must be spirit-led, and as such, it requires patience, convictions, and a determination not to move if God is not ordering your steps. It's one of my good pastor buddies sent this to me. He says, because I want to please God, I am obliged to obey and wait on him as opposed to circumventing him and his process. There's a text that's coming through. There's a couple more texts that's coming in here. And this is the questions I read that one already. So he sent it to two things. This is Howard Michelle Reckley case has been postponed until September 2023 from early days of the Minnis administration. Let that steam down with onions and gold pepper and plenty garlic. Okay, it's like, so this is the equate to let it simmer. You think it matters which administration looks favorably on the other? You think that doesn't matter? Are we going to deal with the core of it, which is corruption? Do you think it matters who did what favor for what? That's what I want to ask you. Do you think it matters when Kai is in Abaco talking about the fact that these lumber haven't been used ever, that the thing whopping, and having conversations about what hasn't been used while persons are eagerly looking for opportunities to be able to get there, when there are illegal immigrants in Abaco and different areas creating in other shanty towns and being able to get employed? Do you think any of this matters? Which administration was it? It is the core of corruption. And if none of the administrations deal with it accordingly, then we got to deal with it now. We're moving forward, upward, onward, together. And we're not dragging corruption, because that is the weight that'll pull us all down. Let me go back to this decent article and tell you what it is. Corruption possesses a serious developmental challenge. In the political realm, it undermines democracy and good governance by flaunting or even subverting formal processes. Corruption in elections is in legislative bodies reduces accountability and distorts representation in policy making. Corruption in the judiciary compromises the rule of law, and corruption in public administration results in the unfair provision of service. More generally, corruption erodes the institutional capacity of government as procedures are disregarded, resources are siphoned off, and the public offers are bought and sold. Shoot straight across the board. Let's take this telephone call. Calling on the line with us live. Go ahead.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm good, man. What's happening with you?
Everything good. Oh, you take long to get your call, so you come into the call after the break, and then you go on you're a long man.
Don't fight me.
You were saying earlier that you may miss out on your dream or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
No?
No, what do you mean? What I was saying earlier, you asked if I was saying earlier that I could miss out on my dream?
Yeah, like you like come out, like to say what is
No. Many of us have dreams, and we believe that we can get there one day. But sometimes these dreams, we feel like, okay, if God called us to this dream, do we take it into our own hands because God taking too long? And then we get ourselves involved with certain things that really propel us in this position, but really corrupting the objective of what we've been called to.
Hey, Howard, I take note when you say dreams and then you say God and dreams, right? So God give us the dreams, right?
I follow you. I'm trying to follow you. Go ahead.
No, I following you, man, because you say God and dreams. I mean, where else could dreams come from? Because, I mean, like, if God is the highest and all above, I mean, it comes from all above.
Mm-hmm.
Every manifestation of the brain, I guess, some bad, some good. Wrong or right?
I listening to you, but I feel like you won't go in a contrary direction, so I can give you the floor. Go ahead.
You're trying to give me that in the answer because you feel like I'm going in a contrary direction.
Yeah, of course.
I ain't going contrary.
Okay, go ahead then.
Howard, yeah, because that when you're talking about you pray to get like whatever you want, basically, right?
Mm-hmm.
Howard, when I listen to you on the radio, right? I say, and you always saying, "But as a big man, how tall are you, Howard?"
I'm 6'1".
6'1". I got one issue with you,
Mm-hmm.
and you're well built, right?
Mm-hmm.
You did construction before.
Yeah, but my old man, but not occupationally, but my old man.
And you ain't gonna market that?
No. I only did it with him. He teach me how to do stuff around building our house.
Yeah, but then if you're in construction, probably be making that dream money now.
No, but you always you this is the second or third time you do this. You equate size with ability. There are some bigger fellas who could do this thing.
You ain't disabled in no way.
No, but I don't do that. That ain't for me. You and your talent ain't mine.
That's what you need to do, though. Because guess what? It's something like, I mean, you're the big man, right? You always say he's a big man, right?
Mm-hmm.
I could just see you in the construction field, lifting some heavy stuff and doing some big things, man.
And then how you and I have this conversation here if I on the roof?
Exactly.
Oh, so you're trying to get me off the radio?
And then when you come on the construction site around under me, right? Every time you say conversation, they cut your face.
Sir,
every time you say call.
Tell you what, I cut you now. You need to stop it. Every day you want sway away from what we're talking about. I mean, I don't know whether or not that's your agenda. Talk to me. Is that your agenda? We dealing with what we dealing with. Let's deal with it. Let me take a next telephone call. Calling you on the line with this live. Go ahead. We got the next caller on the line? No. Okay. No. You dropped it. All right. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, anywhere from the family of islands. 242-300, 5720, 242-300, 5720, or you can hit me up on the text line 422-4796. Let me see if I can read one or two of these texts before we get out of here. It says, okay, so we read that one. I try to be decent. I can't read all of these because, I don't want to. This is not implicating. I don't want to do that. I want to be as decent as possible and talk about those things. Conviction, transparency, and sort of the accountability to be able to make sure that we are staying on course to move in the direction that we were called to. Let me see if I can take this call. Calling on the line with us live. Go ahead.
Hey, good day, Howard.
Hey, how you doing?
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
Man, I know your wife's still opening up them gifts you bought her.
Listen, she opened the gift, right? And she smelled dead good, right? She said, smell. I said, watch yourself, baby. You get you pregnant again, right?
Back to the topic, right? I'm stuck on the fact that, with this corruption business, why is it our opinion that the public servants that we elected, we should not know their business?
I don't know. I mean,
I'm talking in reference to the declaration. The first year we heard, some didn't declare. We never know who they were. The second year we hear, some didn't declare. We still don't know who they were. And
I think it's an enforcement. It's an enforcement issue. I think that because it's almost as though we all serve under the pleasure of the Prime Minister. It's not necessarily what it is by law, but in theory, application and the conditioning of it, the rhythm of how it's happened. If the Prime Minister doesn't make very clear indication that this is what should happen, it normally doesn't happen.
The good Reverend, who's in charge of that section, he can't come out to the public and say, okay, we have certain persons that did not declare. He has the list of names of those who didn't. Why don't he just see? We don't need to get all together like America, But I like the way you ain't gonna hide nothing from the public. You don't gotta come out and say it. The reporters can figure it out, and they come in and they gonna say it by name, by constituency, however. I think we need, in order to start rooting out corruption, those secrecies that we have in these governments when they are elected needs to leave the place.
Wow. I appreciate your telephone call, my dear. Thank you so very kindly for that. I want to ask you this question, right? Have you ever read a letter to the editor, and then it's signed Pinocchio, signed, Woody Woodpecker, just weird stuff, right? And then you read the article, good article, articulate, eloquent, structured properly, punctuated properly, the entire thing. These people are obviously educated. You understand? And then you read it and then you see it's Woody Woodpecker or something like that, right? And so I often read this. Now, how the process is that the editors locally, the editors here, when they said it, because remember, I don't work in the news section. I don't work in the newspaper section. I work here, right? But whenever I send my information to them, they required me to give my name. They always required. So what's your name? Do you want to leave it, sign your name? I say yes. So they needed to know who I was, and then they asked me whether or not I wanted to leave my name. I said yes. Okay. So my point to you is that I'm always baffled as to why people would sign with this anonymous something. And then based upon proximity in society, based upon the conversations that I've had with older fellas around the place, so forth and so on, and based upon this sort of position that I'm in, I recognize that more often than not, the men and women, or whoever these people are, that are writing these articles that can give me such in-depth, detailed information to stories that all of us are wondering about, is based upon their proximity to it. And many times is based upon their contribution or the parts that they played that grew a conscience and separated themselves, but still can't be transparent, because to be able to be transparent and put your name to the forefront, you indicate all of us. It's almost like the fellas say, man, Charlie, you might as well come out the bush. The police get us. No, sir, the police get you. But he can call everybody's name. And I think that is where we exist in this space as it relates to this conversation that we're having about corruption. It continues to happen because if one person that's in the authoritative position identifies it or seeks to be able to rectify it or eradicate it in any way, they can bring your dirt to the forefront. And so everybody say, well, it is what it is. And leave that thing like that. Last telephone call before we get out of here. Caller, you on the line with us live. Go ahead. Go ahead, caller, before you get out of here.
All right, listen.
Hey?
Just a recommendation, man. I
Yeah.
was on the phone for 10 minutes. Try to keep your talk to a little minimum, man, and keep the callers to 1 minute. And then lastly,
I'll keep you to 1
I thought
minute.
you was different, but man, you ain't different, man.
Okay.
The guardians of woke media, y'all need to wake up.
But what you're saying, I don't understand what you're saying.
I'm saying y'all cut me off because y'all ain't ready.
No,
For
you can't.
Real and true discussion.
No.
And I didn't even cross the line.
No. Let's
But
be
y'all
very
cut me
clear.
off,
This,
and then you avoided the topic.
This is because I brought the topic to the forefront. We're not here to
your
talk
topic.
about the judiciary. I'm not going to do that.
No, but you could have said that. And you could have.
But I told you that.
Right there. You didn't do it. You just cut me, bro.
I told you that we're not going to talk about the judiciary, and then I went back to be able to be very clear about why we're not going to do that. If we're moving forward in this country, we can identify how we could be able to rectify these things. Y'all take it now? You cut it? Okay. No, I don't want to be. I've always tried to be accommodating to all my guests. I've always tried to take on a position to be very clear and certain, but we have a social obligation to identify the powers that be in these areas. That's why I told you this ain't really about Adrian Gibson. I ain't even read his article to talk about him in this position now and to talk about Kirk Cornish in this position and talk about conviction, talk about honorability, and talk about what our expectations are going forward for the next dispensation of leaders for the country. I got to be decent, man. I got to be decent. That's all I want to do. I want to be decent. And many a time I come very close to the precipice, to the edge. But I pull back and try to be as decent as possible, leaving you with enough to ponder as to whether or not we need to make this social change to move towards growth. That's all I want to do. And that's the core of my commitment in this space. So I thank you for the opportunity. I really do. And I thank you for your participation in these forums. This is an open public forum. So we have to be able to use certain critiques. If you're on my podcast, it's a different story. But we're in a public forum. I'm not here to lambaste and be able to do that to the judiciary in this country. We've already had that. We've seen exactly what's what. All of us have our opinions in these areas. Thank you so much for your participation, man. I really want to say that. I don't want you to think that I have any ill feelings towards you or any one of those persons. But we have a social obligation to ensure that we keep things on the right track as we move forward. I want to do that, man. I want to thank you guys so very kindly for being able to participate and be a part of this. And this is really about the core of it. It's really about this ideas. Ain't nothing wrong with driving a Tesla. Gas expensive. I'm not saying anything wrong with driving a Tesla. I'm just saying that you can afford it. I can't afford $100,000 car, clear it and come in here. I can't. That's all I'm saying. So I just want to do that and have a very clear conversation with you guys. So it says, isn't it mind-boggling how certain first-time Bahamian politicians enter Parliament with a declaration of $25,000 to $40,000 and but 5 years later declare a millionaire? Isn't it even more mind-boggling how certain folks could enter Parliament and serve stints and cabinet ministers only to declare that they are much richer than they were before the previous general election? It is mind-boggling. And the only question that I wanted to put on the table today, without deflection or being deterred from that objective, is how do we eradicate this entirely? How do we deal with this moving forward? That's the show today, guys. I thank you so very kindly. This is Howard Grant, the Foundation, right here on Guardian Radio. Y'all continue to be able to do well, man. Move forward, upward, onward, together with passion and determination. And let's change this country for what we envision. For what we envision. For what's supposed to happen. Not wrapped in emotion, but very clearly. Move up with passion, conviction, and determination over the next 50 years. Guys, that's the show. Stick and stay for Shivago Lang with Z Live. Right after this, we see you tomorrow, Godspeed. Have a great day, guys.
The foundation. The foundation. The foundation. The foundation.
Ready to step into the future? From your front door to the backyard and everywhere in between. See and speak to whoever's there with Ring Video doorbells and security cameras now available at Alive. Protect what matters most, all from one easy app. Available in your Google or Apple Play Store. Visit bealive.com/ring to learn more. We are alive.